everybody, my name is Jenny. You found my channel called Senior Perspective. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about the second episode that's covering Christine and David's wedding. Here we go. Okay, so this episode surprised me, actually, especially because it was just a wedding. The whole episode was really the wedding, and yet we have stuff to talk about. And I will say it surprised me. I had seen a couple last weekend. I was able to watch some YouTube creators and that I enjoy, and they were talking about the first episode, and some of them were saying how they cried when they saw like different scenes of, you know, like the gifts to Christine or when she was talking to her dad or whatnot. And I thought, I must have a cold heart. I did not cry. I did not even come close to crying. I was very analytical and I was taking notes and writing it down, and nothing moved me whatsoever. I don't know what was different this time around, but I teared up, I know 3 times, maybe 4 in this episode. I shocked myself. So let's talk about it. The scene opens up with Christine opening up her wedding dress, unzipping it, and revealing it to all her daughters. All her daughters were there in the dressing, getting ready room. Maybe I'll put a little footage in here. There's not a whole lot to comment about this scene. It was just a bunch of beautiful young women supporting their mom, excited for her day, and it was sweet. It was real sweet.
All of us can, Maddie, do you want to help zip it up? Oh, I'm ready to go. On your mark, get set, go. Come on, zip together. See you on how do you feel? Woo! Woo!
And the next scene we see is basically processing down and coming down. And I found it very interesting. She wanted it to be non-traditional, but it was a combination of traditional and non-traditional. I know like in my daughter's wedding that I came out first, not as part of the processional, but also after everybody had been seated. I came with my son down down the aisles for both of the weddings. And so to me, that seems kind of traditional. I guess traditional is that with all the bridesmaids, that the mother of the bride and the mother of the groom come down too. But we just didn't do it that way. The grooms in both of them escorted their moms down to their seats, and then they went up to the front. And because my husband was walking my daughters down the aisle, my son escorted me down the aisle, and we sat down in our seats. So this was kind of similar to that, but she included more family. What I liked about it is it wasn't really stuffy because the family was so big and because you have lots of kids, so it's kind of like, woo, come in here, don't go there. So they kind of came down in groups. That was the first time I got choked up. Just seeing, I think it was David's family too, so I didn't even know who they all were, but like this conglomeration of just all his kids and their spouses and all his grandkids. They all look gorgeous and beautiful. Everybody matches because they're all in the same color scheme. It just was picture perfect. And TLC, I don't know if it was the music actually played at the wedding, whatever music they used, it was just the right music that tugged at my heartstrings that made me go, oh. And then there were other little snippets of groupings of people who came down. It was touching to see Christine's brother, who we now know from the episode when she was visiting them in Idaho. One of the brothers was escorting Rex down to his seat. And that touched me too. Rex is just so cute. He's just so, I don't know why I love him so much. He's just, you can tell he's frail. You can tell he probably doesn't have a whole lot of time left here on this earth. And I think that's what made it extra special and kind of tugged at my heartstrings. It was sort of like, oh, I'm glad he was here for this day. I have in my notes that I swear when they cut to Gabe after his grandpa came down that he had tears in his eyes. He looked like he was crying. There were a couple times he did. Maybe not. Maybe it's just he squints in a certain way and it just kind of looked that way. But I swear he was getting choked up. Truly then came down with the rings and gorgeous in her dress. So pretty.
You can say what you want. You can be anyone and I'll still.
And then Peyton escorted Christine down, which was nice and kind of uneventful at first, but right as they were turning to, because they had quite a long walk from behind. My one daughter's wedding was the same way. Quite a long walk to get to the beginning of the aisle. As they were, he was just approaching the end of the rows to kind of go down the official aisle. He turns to Christine and leans down and whispers to her, and he says, "He's a good man." And Christine, I don't know if she said what or if she looked confused because he went to say it again. And at that moment, the way his voice cracked in that, it seemed like he was choked up. And then he repeated it again. Tears. Tears. If my son were to say that to me at a wedding, I'd lose it. I would have been like, what are you doing? What you doing to me? Don't do that right before I walk down the aisle. But I'm so glad Peyton did in this situation because I just thought, oh.
I love you. I will carry.
He's a good man.
you home.
He's a really good man. Thanks.
Cold the wind blows, I will carry you home. I will bring.
What could touch your heart more? Her only son, walking her down the aisle to the love of her life, and for him to give that final kind of stamp of approval right before the final walk down, saying he is a good man. I loved it. Another cool moment. I didn't tear up at it, but I liked it.
The moment when she come walking out and walking down, I'm like, there's my goddess, there's my queen, my unicorn. I couldn't believe that this was happening.
There's my goddess, my queen, my unicorn. And I love goddess, queen, my unicorn. He put them all in there. And it's just that extra confirming, which Christine needs. That's who she is. She's somebody who needs verbal affirmations. Not everybody does in life, she does. And she didn't get it at all for 20 to 30 years. So then they get to the end of the aisle and Peyton hands off Christine to Rex. And he cried again. My eyes were like welling up and I had to like dab away.
You home back to shore.
Wonderful day, honey. This is a wonderful man.
Thanks, Daddy.
You guys are gonna love each other.
It was just a tender moment. I was just so happy. I was so happy that for her that he was there. I was so happy for him that he got to see his daughter in love and going to be married and that she's going to spend, it's just kind of that, as I said, I don't know how much borrowed time he's on, but he wasn't the most fit. He couldn't walk down the aisle. He couldn't make it up the steps. He couldn't dance later on. Like, he's older and he's ill and he's been sick for 15 years. So the writing's on the wall. We all don't live forever. And he now, before passing on, has the opportunity to see Christine with somebody who's going to care for his daughter and love her for the rest of her life. That's a good feeling. I'm going to screenshot a picture here. What I like the most is that little bit. He walked her about maybe 2 rows worth of steps before he passed her off to David, of which Peyton was still right there to then help him get back to where his seat was afterwards. But during that little short walk that he took with her, he had Rex, I'm telling you, Rex had the biggest smile on his face, and it was so cute. He's just scrumptious. I don't know why I like that guy.
Yeah, I got a little emotional when Rex took Christine's arm. I don't know why. He's always just been a huge advocate for our faith. And I think it's wonderful that he's here with Christine, who has chosen to do something different. And
I also noticed that Janelle teared up too during the same scene. Like they cut to her and she was tearing up. There was a lot of Janelle tearing up in this episode, which is very unique for Janelle. When we think of all the times we've seen her tear up in all the seasons, let me know below if you can recall any other situations of Janelle tearing up. But to me, they've all been when Christine had to leave, when she announced she was leaving, and Janelle was sad about that. When she gave the speech on the floating bar before the rehearsal dinner, and numerous times here at the wedding. It's just proof that the bond between these two sisters, really, they should call themselves sisters, not sister wives. It's tight. It really is. The service was nice and sweet and short, just like Christine wanted. The officiant, David's son-in-law, did a nice job. You can tell he was nervous and stumbled a little bit, that kind of nervous energy of, but quickly recuperated. And what he had prepared was lovely. Specifically, what I loved is what he said about David and what kind of person David is. He described him as the man who wakes up early to plow the driveway of single mothers that are nearby in where he lives, as well as the man who, after his wife passed away, would work long hours, come home, care for 8 kids, skip dinner to go to a neighbor's house and help make it handicap accessible for a neighbor who had recently become paralyzed. He basically is just saying, this is a good man. This is a selfless man. This is a giving man. This is an opposite of Cody man. Could you imagine Cody sacrificing anything for anyone? I can't even see him doing it for his wife and kids. Can you see him waking up early to go over and shovel somebody else? I can't even see him doing it for another sister wife. The 180 dichotomy between these two men is striking. Christine has gone from probably one of the most selfish men on earth to probably one of the selfless men on earth. Like, she won the jackpot. And Cody can never say anything negative about this guy. I mean, until maybe he screws up someday, I don't know. But as of now, this man is golden. He can't be touched. And if Cody dares say anything negative, the backlash on him is going to be ridiculous. We have another cut to Janelle in tears. Love it.
Very accessible because his neighbor had just become paralyzed from the waist down. That's the man that Dave is. So no one's more perfect to be his better half.
I don't know if it was this one or the one before, but one of those two was Gabe, again, looking like he was in tears. Not as much as Janelle, but he did look like he was choked up a little bit. And out of all of her kids, he strikes me as probably the most tender-hearted, and so it wouldn't surprise me that he would get emotional during this time and in terms of being happy for Christine. And just being there at a wedding with all his siblings around. Like, he had a rough time during COVID, and he's had a rough time with his father. And I think this wedding, Christine's wedding, was very healing for Gabe. Okay, then we had another moment that I cried again. So Truly comes up, and she gives the rings to her mom and to David. Benign, nothing to say about it. But she goes to give her mom a hug. And then before she leaves, she says, "You deserve the best, Mother." Oh. It's just like the Peyton comment. It's these last minute, off the cuff, unsolicited, let me just give you another validation and words of affirmation. You done good. and this is okay, and I'm okay, and I support this. Like, it just, I don't know. I am a sucker for kids being nice to their mothers. Maybe because I have kids and I'm a mother. I don't know. So those kind of situations just melt my heart. And I teared up again.
Thank you.
You deserve the best mother.
Thank you.
I want you guys to
Thank
take
you,
these
Shirley.
readings as a constant reminder
Thank
for your
you.
guys' love for each other.
Thank you. Love you.
Julie gives David a hug, and then she goes and she sits down. And I didn't think anything of it, but then it was followed up with an interview with Christine, who had this to say.
And to have Truly give him a hug was like, she hugs him before, but right there in front of everybody, she showed that she accepted him and loved him.
So that moment was more significant than I realized. Who knows? I probably teared up when she said that too. I don't remember that. But I do remember thinking, oh. There were a lot of moments like that, weren't there? There were a lot of moments where you just kind of go, oh. So we get to the end of the wedding. They announce them as groom and bride, husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Christine goes in. Like, there's no waiting. There's no having the groom grab her chin gently. And no, Christine was like, ah. She is making up for lost time. I'm telling you. It made me laugh. I mean, it made me laugh because it's also kind of Christine on top of it.
David, by the power vested in me by the state of Utah, I am pleased to finally join these two soulmates and pronounce you husband and wife, sealed together both in law and in love. Dave, you may now kiss the bride.
So David went ahead and did the girly thing and kicked her leg. He kicked his leg up in the back. Like, she went in like she was the groom, like, I'm gonna attack. And so he just kicked his leg up like, yay. The whole thing was just funny to me.
I now have the highest honor of introducing for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Woolley.
And can I just say, that's when the camera panned back too, and you could see the whole view of the place. Whoa, did she pick a beautiful place to get married? Honestly, I can only imagine how much that venue cost. Oh my goodness. But it's beautiful. Thank goodness she had TLC recording it, because I'm sure they kicked in a huge hunk of money to pay for this wedding. Another moment where I teared up. Here we go. They're walking out. Rex says to David, I love you. Okay. I can't. I was like, oh. And then David reaches out and grabs Rex's hand and says, I love you too, sir. And I love that he threw sir in at the end. It was just that level of respect and honor that all kids should have for their parents, but is extra special when a son-in-law or daughter-in-law gives you that level of respect. It was beautiful and perfect. I couldn't have scripted it any better.
Love you. Love you too, sir.
That was probably my favorite moment of the entire episode. I love you. I love you too, sir. And after that incredibly emotional moment, we go to break and come back with Cody. Ruining a perfectly good episode. I did hear somewhere else somebody say that they were really angry that Cody and Robin were part of this because it ruins her special for her to look back on in life. And they said they didn't have another videographer there. So now they're always going to have Cody and Robin as part of it. But I don't know. One, I don't know that there wasn't another videographer there. But two, they did such a great job of capturing it. Be very easy to just edit them out. They can just splice them right out. Not a hard thing to do. Chop them out, splice it back together, and they still have their wedding episode. So Not to say I was thrilled with them being in it, but I don't think it ruined their future wedding videos. I don't think they're going to keep them in it. I really don't. I mean, I wouldn't. So we have Cody talking here, and I wrote in my notes, he's just kind of rambling. Shocker. He wishes them well, but then he says he doesn't really know David that well because he only met him once. But he doesn't have any concerns. His only concerns are for the kids. But then the kids are mostly older, so that's okay. Like, he just kept trying to play both sides of the line. Like, I think he was trying to be the good Cody, but he kept getting sucked back. You know, implying, well, you know, maybe he's not that great a guy. I don't know. I haven't met him. Well, maybe he's not going to be great to my kids. You know, I don't know. I don't know him that well. Like, you know, it's that, whoa. It's Cody. It's Cody being Cody. I honestly didn't take a whole lot of notes on it because I just sort of dismissed it. Like, you know what? I am enjoying this wedding episode. And I'm not going to let myself emotionally get caught up in how stupid Cody is. At the end of the couple lines that he said here, I just wrote, whatever. Be gone, Cody. Bye-bye. And it ends very odd, which is part of the promo that we had. He said, I'm just going to keep talking until your cameras go away. Which is the point that Robin then turns his head and starts kissing him and shoos the cameras away. So altogether, I will say it came off not quite as creepy as the preview and the teaser to this episode was, because it looked like she just kind of, I don't know, wanted to prove they're in love too, or, you know, and then just grab them and kiss them and then be like, be gone because we need to be alone. That's what I was interpreting it as. Really, it was in response to him saying, I'm going to keep talking until you go. And Robin's like, oh, no, you're not. And I guess she's covered his mouth one too many times. He's probably told her, don't do that again. So she thought, all right, here's option 2. I can't cover it with my hand. I'll just cover it with my mouth. Gross, but effective.
That's it. It's hard for that to not be on my mind. We had 25 years together, and I'm just going to keep talking until those cameras leave.
Give me a kiss.
But the kiss was so robotic and awkward. It was like that, let's kiss. Like either of them have never kissed before, and this was the first time they were trying to figure it out. The whole thing was kind of uncomfortable and awkward, and I don't know. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about Cody. Oh, yay! We have an interview with Robin next. Let me say something positive. She was not wearing a flowered blouse. She has a non-flowered blouse in her closet, just navy blue. I liked it. What? I can't really remember much about it. I think it was just basic navy blue, and it may have had some ruffle on the sleeve or something like that. But yeah, it was okay by me. I wonder if she's been watching my videos. Okay, yeah, she doesn't watch my channel. I feel like not that many people watch my channel. Okay. Speaking of which, if you know anyone who might be interested in these videos, do share. Let's try to grow this sucker. I think this is a great time for another game.
It's game time.
Let's guess what Robin might have said during this time. Could it be A, we are really, really happy for them? B, we are really, really joyful at this time? C, we are really, really looking forward to hearing about the wedding? Or D, it's been really, really difficult? Yes, of course it's D. Robin made herself a victim in Christine's wedding episode.
It's been really, really difficult. It's really made me take a step back and wonder, you know, does plural marriage really work?
TLC is so mean to her. I mean, really, all they do is show the truth. But they do not at all anymore edit out things that may make her look bad. What she and Cody says, we get to see, and I'm here for it. All right, we cut back to Moab, Utah. The wedding's over, so now we're doing photos of everybody and all the families and trying to wrangle and do like this family and that family and Maddie and Caleb and their 3 kids with them. And oh my gosh, they had to have been there forever doing all of this. I have written in my notes here that at this time, Caleb made a really nice comment. And let me just side note, Caleb and Maddie are only 8 years apart in age. Yes. Y'all, when I made that last video and said they were 12 years apart, it's because I watch a particular YouTuber that is always saying that they're 12 years apart. And me thinking I'm going to go the extra mile on my video, besides just saying they're 12 years apart, I'm going to research and I'm going to get the actual dates and put it in there. But when I got the actual dates of their births, I didn't actually do the math to make sure. I just trusted that they were always 12 years apart in age. So I said, this is when Maddie was born, this is when Caleb was born, they're 12 years apart. And everybody's like,
What is she talking about?
Math is hard, but I think that's only 8 years. I'm so embarrassed that I didn't do the math on my own and I just trusted and threw the information, especially since I thought, oh, I'm gonna beef up, I'm gonna have more facts for people and give them the exact dates at the same time. I just made myself look like a fool. I probably would have had nobody respond if I would have just said 12 years. They would have been like, oh, okay. I'm a dingo. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
But y'all are right. They're only 8 years apart in age, which is not that big a deal, people. Why are people making such a big deal about them being 8 years apart in age? I don't know. I was only 24 when I married my husband, and he was 7 years older than me. My sister was only 23. Her husband was 11 years older than her. We're all married for 20, 30 years. You know, like I don't think it's that big a deal. And I think they look really cute together, and I think they work well together, too. And I like them both individually as people. So there you go. My opinion, you can disagree. You may hate them. You may think their age gap is too big, but only 8 years. I mean, it is weird. I mean, every now and then I'll say to my husband, wow, when I was in 1st grade, you were in 7th? I mean, that's freaky weird when you think of it that way. But by the time you hit about 20 years of age, you go into the adult realm and it doesn't really matter anymore as long as your heart and your intention is pure. So Caleb was talking about during this time, as everybody was there for a few days ahead of time, you know, pre-wedding activities and festivities, that it really wasn't a separating of the families. It was really a blending of everyone. He said, I'd always noticed, even if I went over to talk to somebody in our family that I was familiar with, that there would be somebody from David's family there too, and they'd be asking questions. He's like, they wanted to get to know us. They wanted to blend with us. And he's like, it was a great time for the families to blend, and I just love that.
Yes, because they want to get to know us, and it's like, holy crap, where have you been our entire life, man?
Yeah.
You know?
Are you guys going back? Are you doing this after? Are you doing this after? Well, I'll go if you go, and it's like,
Wait, you two are moving to North Carolina? Oh, that's awesome. So are we. Whoa, okay, all right.
Like literally it felt like their family expanded. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, we added on because now we have this other family, but we don't really know them or ever talk to them or get together with them. They really blended well together. Nice. And this was kind of on the tails of them showing that when they were taking a picture of the two families all together, David's and Christine's family, that it tended to be that most of David's family was on one side and Christine was the other. And so McKelty took charge and she's like, okay, I need 3 of your families to go over here and all that. We need to blend. We need to blend more. So it was nice of TLC to kind of throw in that interview that they had as part of it to show like this wasn't a wedding where they were always separating. And we saw that in the getting ready videos. I made a comment about that in one of the 2 videos I did on episode 1 of Christine's wedding, how the girls were mixed with his 2 daughters and probably daughters-in-laws as well in a lot of these pre-wedding activities. So they are just splicing through and showing individual pictures that were taken. And there was one picture of Christine with all her daughters that I just thought, wow. It's like one of those moments where you just sigh and go, okay, life is good. These young ladies are mature, articulate, smart, accomplished, and strikingly beautiful.
get in here, David.
I just don't think
She's going to have that picture framed up on her wall. Oh, Gwen's not in it. Well, that sucks. She might still have the picture framed on her wall. It was a beautiful picture. Then they started doing some individual interviews and showing what all the different kids had to say. They interviewed Aspen.
Polygamy is good for everyone. It wasn't good for my mom. And in the end, it was good for her for a while. And then she needed something different.
They interviewed Isabel.
Yeah, I would never want to live polygamy. But I'm really thankful that I grew up in a polygamous household because I love having so many siblings. It's amazing. And so many moms. It's really fun, but I don't think I'd want that for my kids.
They interviewed Gabe and Savannah.
I think that polygamy is a beautiful lifestyle for those that desire it.
Who believe in it.
Who believe in it and want everything that comes with it.
Personally, I don't think I would ever be able to make it work.
And they interviewed McKelty.
Her last year with David has been incredible. It's been everything that my mom deserves, everything that she's ever wanted. And so it's an obvious tell that something was wrong from the beginning. If it's so perfect now.
Well, don't hold back. Speak your mind.
I honestly think that polygamy is a terrible idea.
Did not see that coming.
I think being raised in the family that I was an absolute blessing. I loved having all of my siblings, my mom, my dad, but I don't think it was fair to my parents.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
None of them got what they needed out of a marriage. I've only been married for 7 years, but I know what I deserve, and I know what my moms and my dad also deserve. And I don't think polygamy is what anybody deserves.
Whoa! What? Say it again. Now here's an example of me absolutely loving McKelty having no filter. Yes.
I'm starting to like you.
That is going to hurt Cody and Robin. Robin, who still kind of wants to live polygamy. This was a subtle jab and dig. And let me say, there are a couple of them in this episode. Little jabs and digs that I was like, okay. This is the first one. All right, McKelty. The best part about all these interviews is that the kids all agree that they were perfectly fine with the fact that they were raised in polygamy, but they're not going to choose it for themselves in their lives or their kids. They saw the problems. You could see that. They love all their siblings. They all get along so well. I mean, this wedding, they had a good time. I wanted to be there. They had a good time. It was a fun party. And so all the interviews, the kids are all like, yes, I don't regret it for a second. I had a good childhood. I love all my siblings. But they're not unaware of Cody's role and lack of love and attention to all of his wives. I mean, Christine is a classic example of it as they're at her next wedding right now. So then we have more of pictures that are being taken, and it's really cute, the ones with Janelle and Christine, because Janelle tears up again.
I'm gonna get emotional. I know. Freaking amazing. No, you're gonna make me emotional. Stop. Okay.
She got very emotional. Love it. I just love it. So we got to see this dress that she was talking about that she had made. It's a very pretty dress. Didn't seem extra special. It did seem like one of those standard dresses that you would see online when you're looking for mother of the bride or bridesmaid or, long dresses to go with weddings. So it didn't stand out as much for her having it made as I expected it to. But then again, she's not the bride, right? She shouldn't stand out too much. She fit in perfectly with all of the daughters, and she looked flawless. And I love that when they were taking these pictures, you could see she was wearing white tennis shoes. Yes. I am so glad she was wearing white tennis shoes. It's just cooler. It makes me like Janelle so much more. I was afraid she was going to have short, chunky heeled sandals, kind of like what Christine wore. It's not my favorite. I would have liked just a sparkly closed-toed pump or something like that if she was going to go with a shorter heel. Or she didn't even need a heel. David's short. The dress is long. Nobody sees your feet. She could have worn ballerina flats the entire time. Sparkly, pretty little ballerina flats that were comfortable, which she ended up wearing because we saw that When Isabel gave her the penny on the bottom of the shoe, she put a penny on the bottom of each of the 2 shoes she would be wearing that day. And one was the one with the chunky short heel, and the other one was a ballerina flat. All right, why are we talking about shoes? I don't know. Oh, because Janelle had cute white tennis shoes, and I just loved it. I just thought, that's cool. Trending, Janelle, you're trending. They cut to an interview with Mary, and Mary says that she loves that Christine found David. Felt very genuine and sincere. She adds that she loves Christine's place in life, and what I like that Mary said is that she completely anticipates that she will find her love too. I love that. Put it out there in the world. She completely anticipates her love is out there and she's going to find him too.
I completely anticipate that I will find somebody and that I will be able to find somebody who really loves me too. You know, just it's a matter of when and how that all works out, but that's something that I look forward to in my life.
Oh, I want that for you, Mary. I do. And Janelle, how amazing would it be if those 2 women would find somebody like a David in their lives who were just amazing men and doted on them and loved on them and fulfilled them and gave them everything that they've been missing all this time. It would complete the circle. That's what I'm putting out into the universe. Yes. I'm going to do the positive affirmations that Mary does too. Yes.
I'm putting it out there and we'll let the universe sort of sort it out.
She is positively affirming her future man into her life. I love it. With that attitude, he's out there and he's coming, Mary. Yeah. And then Janelle says this.
I see them sitting on the porch with their rocking chairs, watching their grandkids and kids.
Shots fired. It's like a machine gun. It's an Uzi. Cannons. This is all being thrown right at Robin, and I'm loving it. Robin's infamous porch scene where she wanted to sit on the porch, watch the kids, and Janelle says it's happening without you, Robin. That was Janelle.
Savage.
Janelle, she's gotten sassy since she has officially left Cody. I love it. I love this new voice that she has. I'm starting to get excited about next season. She does add later on that if the kids that were not there, which is implying Robin and Cody's kids, I don't think she was referring to Gwendolyn because it's obvious that Gwendolyn would be invited. She's Christine's daughter. But I think this is in reference to Robin and Cody's kids who were not invited to the wedding. And she says that in future events, they of course would be welcome to come.
We would be so open to having any of the other children join us, like, or be part of that or whatever, you know. Any of the children who are not here currently would be so welcome still to come.
Not Cody, not Robin, but the kids would be welcome to come. I don't think they would go anywhere without Mommy and Daddy. So I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you, which is kind of sad, but okay. We'll see. If some of Cody and Robin's kids become close with some of either Janelle, Christine, or Mary's kids, then it's possible they would rejoin group functions in the future because they have like an ally with them, somebody that they're comfortable with, kind of like Aurora is close with Gabe. I don't know if they're close, but Aurora and Gabe talk with each other at school. I don't know what they say and whatnot, but they're maintaining a friendship. And there may be others that we just don't know about. I'm pretty sure a lot of the boys are still in contact with Dayton. I know Peyton speaks very highly and fondly of Dayton. Even in that interview when he was dissing Robin and dissing the girls, he was saying, Dayton's cool, I love Dayton, I miss Dayton. So that might bring him back into the fold too. And I'm assuming that the other boys are the same. I've just heard that through the grapevine. I haven't heard this other thing I heard from Peyton's mouth because I watched that video interview with him. Did I say Peyton? I meant Peyton. I don't know why I said Peyton. Because Peyton is hard to say. Peyton doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
You know, when Christine first met David, she basically said, well, I have a sister wife and she's going to come with me everywhere. And the kids are all my kids. And he's like, okay, cool.
Me too.
You look at him, so cute. It just feels good. It feels like we're whole. Like it feels like the family still has an identity.
We are whole and we have an identity. I mean, that's the best. We are whole. We are missing nothing. We are whole. I love it. It's the perfect statement. We are whole. We are missing nothing. Cody, Robin, not missing you. Okay, I've written here in my notes that when they had the whole group photo, that 2 people stood out for me as my favorites. One was Truly, because I don't know if she's been studying how a model stands, but she had the 1 foot forward, hand in her pocket, other hand like really loosely hanging down, and she's looking and she's smiling, but she doesn't have like a really big huge smile. She has like that, like, I'm just cool. Too cool for you all. I don't know, but the whole look, there were a couple other girls who had like 1 foot forward in that, but if you go back and look at the picture, I'll probably slice it in here. She just had the entire cool vibe. And she doesn't strike me as somebody that stands always with like really cool vibe energy. She normally just seems more playful, off the cuff, whatever, like she doesn't care. This picture made her look like she was 7 years older. Like that whole day, she seemed 7 years older. Even what she said to her mom and all that, like everything about it was good, touching, nice. And this picture to me was shocking. The other person in there who I love so much was Leon. If you look at Leon, Leon looks like he's having the best time out of anybody. I love the smile, but I love the throwing back of the head too. Almost like I'm smiling and I'm laughing and I'm just enjoying myself. Like it felt like a pure, joyful moment. Everybody looked good in the picture. They're all striking. They all had nice smiles. They all looked like nobody looked forced. Probably the only one that kind of in that picture looked a little bit forced was Garrison on the end, because he didn't like show his teeth when he smiled, and he was like standing up tall. He and Logan both were standing really tall in that picture, but Logan had a really big smile on his face because he didn't have a smile on his, which is also kind of military, and I think Garrison is in the reserves or something like that, so it probably came from that. But I'm also thinking Peyton was like kind of right behind them at an angle at about 4 feet taller than the rest of the people in this shot. So they were probably trying to get up as high as they could. Peyton made everybody look short. In passing, we would see Logan and Logan's wife, and she always seemed to be having a good time, and she was laughing too. We see passing shots of Audrey, who's always smiling. We see Leon on the dance floor having a good time. Like there were a lot of like quick shots in the distance that you could see of the kids, and everybody seemed to be having a great time at this event, at this experience, as Cody would refer to it. So at the wedding experience, there was joy happening. Joy abundantly and overflowing. In the triangulating world of pessimisms and optimisms, I would say that it was successfully had as far as experiences go. That's Cody talk. Say a bunch of words, mean nothing. Then we cut to they're eating, and there's a lovely scene of Hunter playing with the baby, Maddie's youngest baby, who Janelle is holding on her lap, and he's like, you know, doing the typical woo, but it's just so cute. Loved it. We saw Avalon and Evie, or is it Evie? I don't know. I've seen that name pronounced both ways. I don't know exactly how she pronounces it, if it's long E or short E. But Evie or Evie, them circling around and holding hands and dancing on the dance floor. There was no dancing going on yet, but you know, there's background music, so they just went up and danced. I love it. Kids having fun, the best, seeing their cousins who live far away from them and having fun. I mean, their parents had to have been beaming just watching that experience. Oh, I said experience. Must be because I just said that last thing. I will not say that again.
Please, don't use that word.
Watching that interaction. Mykelti goes up to Christine. She has some nice words that she exchanges with her and gives her a hug. And I think she was maybe checking to see if she needed something to eat. I'm not sure at that time. We see Aspen walking by, and we don't know who she's looking at, but she gets really excited, and she waves, and you could tell that it was probably a kid that she saw, that she was like, hey, and I just love that. I just love all of these aunties so excited and uncles so excited to be playing with all of their nieces and nephews. Hunter goes up to Janelle and David, who are sitting at their little round head table, and he shakes David's hand, and he says, he goes, I couldn't have picked anybody better. And then he starts laughing and he says, but I won't call you Dad. And then he just laughs afterwards and says, I love you guys. At this point, Hunter checks on Christine and David and says, hey, do you guys have food? And then Christine says, yeah, Peyton is going and getting a plate for us. Can I just say now, so that was 3 kids who randomly went up and just made sure that Christine had what she needed on this day. Unsolicited, this is what the camera happened to catch. Who knows what other conversations went on. But 3 people came up and they're like, do you need anything? Can I get you? Should I go get you some food? Are you okay? I just love, well, the third one, we didn't see Peyton go up, but Peyton was actually getting them food. Mykelti wanted to make sure that they had food, and Hunter wanted to make sure that they had food. It shows a level of care and commitment and love that they have for Christine. Most people go to weddings and they're just focused on when is their time. When's our table number getting called so we can go up and get our food. And if they're not worried about, the bride and the groom taken care of, they just assume they are, right? But these kids, no, they're good kids. Then after they eat, Aspen gets the mic to say a few words. Here we go. She welcomes everybody, are you all having a good time, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden just goes, whoa, rude. Have no idea what was said. I replayed it 2 or 3 times, trying to see if I could hear, put my volume all the way up. If you have better computers and microphones, maybe you know. I don't know what Mykelti said, but Aspen didn't know who said it. She just greeted everybody and all that, and then all of a sudden just went, whoa, rude.
Hello, everyone. What's up? Isn't this a beautiful wedding? Whoa, rude. Who said that?
And then said, who said that? So, it had to have been rude. What was it? I don't know. But Aspen called her out. So some male voice yells out, that was Mykelti. And Aspen comes right back, that's why I'm speaking and not you. Aspen, she knows how to handle Mykelti, right? We talked about this. This is Mykelti's relationship with everybody. She just likes to poke and make fun of everybody. So they're used to it, and they poke and make fun back. They don't do it really with each other in other situations. You don't see a whole lot of it, but I think that they've just come to realize this is Mykelti. This is the way it is. I would love to know what she yelled out, though.
Mykelti, rude. That's why I'm the one speaking and not you.
Drop the mic.
So everybody just laughs when Aspen jabs back. David laughs really hard and says, mic drop. Or drop the mic or something to that effect, which I thought was funny. He was all for it. And then Janelle does her usual damage control of, they love each other. This is how they interact, which may 100% be true. So in Aspen's speech, she adds that she is so excited on how much her family has grown. I know this was not intentional, but this is more shots fired at Robin. The big family. We have Katie do some speeches now, which is David's oldest daughter. And this was interesting. Now, we had heard before, David had said that he had mentioned to one of his daughters that Christine contacted him. And she's like, oh, yeah. First of all, are you being catfished? Is that really true? And then she knew of her. Well, Katie, in her speech, says she takes credit for this entire getting together of David and Christine. She knew about Christine being separated from Cody, and she was all excited about it. And she thought Christine would be perfect for my dad. So she went and she talked to him about it, and he's like, oh, she already messaged me. And David said that Katie was more excited than anybody. I mean, more excited than he was at the time. He's like, just getting to know this girl. But Katie just knew this was meant to be, that they would be a perfect match, which is nice because it also goes to show Katie's obviously somebody who's followed the Sister Wife series. And I mean, don't we all feel like we know Christine at this point? 20 hours of programming, as Cody says, times 18 seasons. That's a lot of watching these people and kind of figuring out who they are. So she thought, this is a good match for my dad, which I just love because that means they really welcomed her with open arms. It was a very different response from Ray, who said that Christine was a leader, a strong personality, and can be bossy, like her father. They really kind of came from different angles. We have David and Christine up on the platform giving each other a kiss. Christine going in for it. And neither of them care who sees. They're just like teenagers who have fallen in love. I mean, she goes in and they're making out. It's not just a kiss. I wonder if she's ever been kissed like that before. You know? She said they really, for a very long time, didn't have any intimacy. So that's intimacy. That level of kissing is intimacy. I love that she's getting made love to now and not just somebody having sex with her. She deserves it. And Janelle explains it in a way that is beautiful. And a dig at Cody. But beautiful. A healing balm to the wound that Cody inflicted. Well put. Janelle the poet.
The fact that they are obviously openly affectionate with each other is almost like the healing balm that kind of soothes that wound that Cody inflicted.
Beautiful, poetic words while stabbing Cody in the kidney at the same time. She's Shakespeare. But she doesn't stop there. We have more Janelle. Oh, Janelle goes on to share the things that Cody has recently been saying about Christine.
Cody was telling her I was never attracted to you. I thought you were always gross. I had to really work hard to be with you.
And then she adds what she thinks about that.
And I thought, what a ass kind of thing to say to somebody, especially someone you've been with for 30 freaking years and you have 6 children with. It was not cool. It wasn't true. It wasn't cool. And David has kind of come in and fixed all of that.
David has come in and fixed all that. I just love how they keep pointing out that David is the superhero in the story.
And she feels loved. She feels seen. She feels attracted. She feels all the things that you should feel with your spouse. And it's kind of all come to this nice, happy ending right here.
Cody is the destructor, and David comes flying in, and he's mending it and fixing it all. I hope when Cody watches this, he gets that. I mean, not this. When he watches the episode, because he's going to. I hope he really gets it, and not just to stick it to him. I mean, that's nice. We like that.
Yeah, consider that a bonus.
But for him to really get it and to really realize, whoa, I have been a douche all this time. I just want him to sit in it for a day. I don't know, though. I don't know that he'll get it, honestly. And if for a second it starts to pierce that thick skull of his, and he starts to think, ooh, David is fixing all the things I did wrong, instantly he's going to flip the script and be like, no, they don't know what they're talking about. David is weak. I'm man. Cody. I drive truck and wear gloves. I love what Mary says here, too, in that Christine deserves this because Christine just deserves it, but also because of everything Cody's been saying about her in the last few years.
I think that she deserves it, especially after the last couple of years that all this stuff has been coming out that Cody's been saying. Like, she deserves it. She deserves to be happy and have somebody who really loves her.
Mary is sincere here by saying she really deserves somebody who loves her. And then I wrote LOL on my paper here because I was literally laughing out loud when I heard Cody say this. I laughed. I was I was like, I can't believe. A gem. Cody served a gem on a platter to us, showing his true colors, trying to be supportive, trying to be the good guy. He says Christine had a goal to find a soulmate and put a lot of emotional energy into that. I mean, the dig he's giving her, two parts of that. She had a goal of finding a soulmate. Like, not just like, you know, she's not going to be like your average person who, like, if you find love, you find love. No, she had a goal. Like, it was a mission to accomplish. No, that's how you think, Cody. That's how you think. You have a goal to collect women. It wasn't her goal. She was happy to find a man. She wanted to find a man. I would not say that was her goal. She set out on the goal to find a soulmate. I don't like the language in that at all. But it gets worse by him saying, and she put a lot of emotional energy into that. I mean, he could almost say these same words with a different person. It would be a positive comment. But it's Cody. It's Cody, and it's Cody's mouth, and it's coming out of Cody. So it's another dig. Well, she exerted so much emotional energy. Of course, she's going to find somebody. The exhaustive energy, time and effort she put into it. Eventually, she's going to stumble upon somebody who's willing to marry her. I mean, that's the subtext.
Christine had a goal in mind and hopes of finding a soulmate experience, and she put a lot of emotional energy into that. Christine had a goal in mind and hopes of finding soulmate experience.
And he goes on to say she did something magical that drew that to her. Yeah, she wasn't just Christine. She can't just be Christine, because who's going to like Christine? Who's going to love Christine? So she had to have done something magical. Sprinkled some fairy dust, did some sort of witchcraft. I mean, I don't know, but something magical happened here, because how could she find a good guy to marry her? And let's face it, a good guy wouldn't marry her anyway, because she left a good man. What good guy would ever marry a woman who left such a beefy, hunky, wonderful man as I? He just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it at all. He doesn't understand any of this. He's probably so angry she's getting this 2-episode wedding feature. Neither he nor Robin think it's going to last. I mean, they don't even know. They hope she'll find love. Let me just say, Cody, if you're watching, she didn't need magic. She just needed a man. Burn! She needed a man who could see her in her heart. You didn't fit the criteria, and she was stuck with you all those years, but it's all good now. Cody goes on to say, they may be that match made in heaven, and I hope they have a wonderful day. And I wrote here with a robotic slight smile, robotic speech with a slight smile. And I wrote, you just can't trust him. Like that whole thing he said right there in that moment, I just thought, words, just words. Can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth anymore. He's proven what he really thinks. We have Christine and David doing their dance, which was lovely and beautiful and very different from Christine dancing with Cody, where he treats her as a rag doll and whips her all around. It's like full-on head trauma by the time you're done dancing with Cody. I wrote in my notes that there's a real pretty scene of them dancing that the TLC cameras caught, that they just did a cinematic, beautiful view of, where the kids were in the foreground at a table talking with each other and playing and all excited, the young cousins that are together. And then there's the main focus is Christine and David dancing. And then in the background behind them, you see McKelty sitting at the table just watching them. And she has the biggest smile on her face. And that one shot, I wrote down, I'm like, that could be a photo too, that they can freeze frame and put into a frame. It was just kind of captured that whole day.
When the cold wind blows, I will carry you home.
And I was just
We cut to the talking head, which was one of the teasers for the wedding episode, which is where Hunter talks about Christine is just so much fun and she just wants everyone else to have fun. You have fun, you have fun, you have fun. So I love that. But my favorite was his explanation of her. His description of Christine is that she's on a positive feedback loop. I never heard that phrase before. Tell me if you've heard that down below. Is it just me? I don't know. Because there have been other things that I've said. I've never heard. There were 2 other things that I know I've said on here. Like, I've never heard that before. And people will be like, oh yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. That's a thing. Never heard the phrase to describe somebody as somebody who lives on a positive feedback loop. And it's just so perfect for her. And good descriptive language I'm a little bit of a sucker for. So love that.
She's got a positive feedback loop that just, we're having fun, you're having fun, I'm having fun, we're just gonna keep having more fun.
Gabe is being interviewed and he says he's never seen Christine this happy before. He adds that Christine and Cody really did try and he thinks they really did love each other, but it just didn't work.
I see Christine interact with David. Quite frankly, I've never seen her be this happy. And that's no slight to my dad. I think that they really tried and they gave it a hard go and that they really did love each other.
And he goes on to say that this is right for Christine.
I'm reassured that this is right for Christine when I see how happy David makes her.
So then we get to dancing, more dancing, and Christine saying that at all their events, they always have dancing. They always see Cody looking like he's having a seizure and calling it dancing. Cody says, I'm sad I'm missing the dancing. And I wrote in my notes here, don't hate me, but I believe him. His eyes were glassy at this time, and I 100% believe him. But let me tell you why. One, I think he's jealous. I think he feels left out. He's used to being the center of attention. He thinks everyone likes to see him dance like that. He's always in the middle of the dance floor and people have to get away because his legs and arms are kicking out all over the place so you can't be nearby. So he gets a full wide circle and he thinks people are standing back because they're like, woo, look at the great dancer. They're standing back so they don't get hit. No one wants to be pummeled or end up with a black eye. So he thinks he's the bee's knees when it comes to dancing. He's a terrible dancer. He is straight up Elaine Bennis, Seinfeld, 1990s.
Sweet, fancy, Moses.
But I will say I also think part of the glassy-eyed and the sincerity of him feeling like he's missing out on the dancing is because he's really missing out on the whole family together. Deep down inside, he really wanted the whole family together. Now, he wanted to be the head of it. He wanted everybody to worship him. And that, like, this God complex with all of his people below him has blown up and it doesn't exist anymore. So it's not an altruistic kind of crying. It's still a selfish kind of crying. But I think on top of not being the center of attention there, he is just jealous that the whole family is together and dancing. And he was not invited. His own fault. And in an interview, Robin says that Cody is always wanting to go dancing and she won't go with him until they take dancing lessons. I don't know what kind of dancing lessons she means. Like, I don't know if she wants to go ballroom dancing with him, because that's not his kind of dancing. He just likes to have popular music and have his dancing technique that he can probably coin as the Cody. We could do that. Do the Cody. It's not as effective without my feet also going out. Nevertheless, her explanation of what dancing with Cody is like is she is just a pole and he's just dancing all around her, which I can see, that he just goes nuts and she doesn't even know where to go, so she just stands still. That's kind of what everybody does. But thank you, Robin, for throwing a dig out to Cody and saying he can't dance. But wait now. The best part in terms of what is going to get Cody's goat at this wedding, we've mentioned so many things that are really going to bother him, above and beyond just the fact that Christine fell in love to a good guy. But as they're all dancing, all of a sudden it turns into a flash mob. And both sides of the family coordinated a flash mob scene on the dance floor.
They were doing a flash mob for us.
Yes.
So this music came on and they all started, I'm like, what are they doing with their hands? Like, what dance? Because I thought they were doing the chicken dance, but they kept going like this. And I'm like, you don't do it for that long on the chicken. I don't understand. And then they were all like, had their hands up and they were kind of doing like this. I'm like, what is this? And then they said it was a flash mob that they coordinated. So amazing. Even Annie, her mom, was like front and center, doing all the motions and everything.
It was a dream come true.
Oh, it was cool.
They all had it coordinated ahead of time, both sides of the family. What a beautiful, wonderful gift to give to the bride and groom, especially in this family that loves dancing so much. I love that. And I remember thinking, Cody's gonna hate that they did this. And that's talking about really expanding her family a lot in that they got together and coordinated it. That means, yeah, their family's growing. It's a whole family. She throws the bouquet. Tammy, David's sister, catches it and is so excited. So yay for Tammy. We hope she gets married in the next year, or she's going to be the next one to get married, as tradition holds. Savannah says the wedding was fun. Gabe, knife in the kidney moment. Are you ready? This is the first time in a long time we felt the real Brown family was back. Oh.
Oh, snap.
The real Brown family was back. Okay, maybe that will hurt even more to Cody.
I thought Christine and David's wedding was a lot of fun.
For the first time in a long time, it felt like the real Brown family was back.
I'm just so happy for Gabe. He needed this, he needed this, he needed this. You can just tell it fueled his soul to have everybody together and dancing and laughing and having a great time. I see all the kids on the dance floor. The people that stood out to me the most were Leon, Hunter, Aspen, and McKelty. They were frequently and like cutting a move, like getting down. They were also drinking a lot of wine and beer. Well, I don't know that for a fact. Maybe they don't all partake, but Pretty sure I saw a wine glass by McKelty, and I definitely saw Aspen holding a can of beer at one point. Then the most awkward part of the wedding, when everybody was very lubricated at the very end of the night. And they said, David, your friend Jared has a special dance for you. And he brings a chair out and makes David sit in it. And his friend Jared, who's a very inappropriate man, decides to give him a lap dance.
Next thing you know, Christine's like,
funny and uncomfortable at the same time. Awkward. But I don't know Jared. Apparently that's who Jared is. After he finishes, he motions to Christine. She comes over and she gives him a lap dance in her wedding dress.
The best.
I mean, it's fine. It's so Christine, really. And now you think about it, Christine with wine. I mean, she mauled him with a kiss up at the altar. So should we be surprised 3 hours later after drinking all night long that this is what we see? I mean, it wasn't terribly inappropriate. It was just shocking. And Janelle admitted that she was very shocked too. David's son-in-law, the officiant of the ceremony, he was shocked, couldn't believe she's ex-Mormon.
It was hard to believe that she was raised so religious for so many years, because that was... I think they kind of forgot people were there.
Janelle said her kids were even shocked.
I have to say that was a little weird for me. I'm like, this is weird. And my kids were like, that's kind of weird, Mom. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but whatever. It's their wedding.
And quite frankly, in the interview, Christine kind of said that she's sort of surprised she did it too. And Janelle gave the best comment at the end to describe it. She goes, whatever's going on, it's great. It's great. So Janelle.
Whatever was going on between them, it's great. It's great.
She just needed to have a mug with some coffee in it at the same time that had the live your best life quote on it or something. And whatever was going on, it's great. No, it should have been like this. And whatever's going on, it's great. It's great. It's great. That would be Janelle. Christine adds a little dig as well to Robin. We have many Robin digs, more Robin digs than Cody digs in this episode. And Christine says that, again, as we all know, her wedding to Cody was very different. It was very quiet.
It was so different than this one. It was just a quiet, really quiet. It was just an immediate family. In our church, the plural weddings just aren't celebrated. Just what plural wives did. They had a really small, quiet party.
And she reiterates, that's what plural wives do. She said they had a real small party, not even a party. Oh, that's what plural wives do. As opposed to Robin, who came into a marriage that had plural wives, but intended to live her own single life with Cody at the same time. I thought it was sweet for Gabe to say that he felt like the whole event was wholesome. That was a sweet word to say.
It felt really wholesome, and it made me feel very complete.
He goes on, more shots fired. He says, it made me feel real complete that everybody was there and we had our family back together.
Everyone was there, and we had our family back together.
This is their family. Going forward, this is their family. I mean, let's face it, Robin's kids are kind of like the in-laws. You know, they were older, the kids had already established for 13 years their life, actually more than that, 15 years, together as a family unit. So it was an awkward blending because of the whole dynamic of the family. Some blended families work together really well, but this was a little bit different in that there were so many kids that grew up together so close in proximity because of the housing situation and how many of them there were, that now here are these other kids that are they're being told are their siblings, but they don't live with them like they've always lived. Now they live in some other house, and Christine doesn't care for them like she cared for the other kids. They have a nanny. Robin separated her and her kids from the rest of the family from the get-go. And this is the result of it. They miss the kids. They're not saying they're glad the kids aren't there. But at the same time, this is what they know of as family. I think they view the other kids as more like distant relatives who, yeah, it would be nice if they came too. Don't know them as well, but it'd be great if they were here. Gabe goes on. He says, everyone was so happy to be around family again, and that's something we haven't had in a really long time.
Everyone was so happy to be around family again. And that's something that we haven't had in a really long time.
Gabe needed this. I said it before. Gabe needed this. This wedding, I think, was healing and mending to his soul. Hunter points out Christine and David are so loved by everybody. He's like, look at how many people are here at their wedding celebrating them.
Listen, I think she had so much fun this whole wedding.
That's what mattered. Is
Yes.
that she had, like, we
She
all
just
had a good
looked-
time.
She got her fairy tale wedding that she's always wanted.
So not only are they so in love with each other, but they have a huge network of hundreds of people who are loving and supporting them as well.
And you see how many people were at Christine's wedding and David's wedding, and you truly understand, like, you see
And it was a
how loved
destination
they
wedding.
are.
And TLC had the perfect cap to the episode by having David say, I've been single for too long, and Christine adding, I've been sharing for too long. Well said. It was a good episode. It was a good episode. There were some shots fired. There were some digs. There was a lot of family. There was a lot of happiness, a lot of parts that made me smile. And I cried numerous times. Not cried, but like my eyes welled up with tears numerous times as well. It had everything in it. It's not your standard I Hate Cody episode or I Hate Robin episode, but there was enough of that in there still. But the focus was on Christine, and good for her. I'm excited to see what the future holds for everybody. All right. I will be back next time with another short video recapping some of the questions that were covered in the Juicy Scoop podcast. So look for that to be coming soon. Take care, y'all. Bye.